I needed my friends to show me that they loved me because I felt alone. I needed my family to show me that they didn't give up on me because I felt like everybody gave up on me. I needed all of those things in order to arrive at where I'm at now. So like, I don't take the credit for all of it. I really try not to take the credit for any of it. And people tell me like, no, you need to take credit because you put in the effort. You put in the time, you put in the work to get here. Yes, we helped you, but like our help wouldn't have done anything if you weren't willing to do the work.
Life on EE.
You know what it kind of reminds me of? So it reminds me a little bit of like a fantasy football team, right? Because this is what happens.
This sounds interesting.
You do so much work pre-draft, like researching, you know, like who are the best guys to pick? Why are they the best guys to pick? What kind of league am I in? Am I in a PPR where guys get a point for every catch that they get? Because that matters. That makes a difference, right? So you do all of this research and all of this work pre-draft to try to draft the perfect team. And then as the weeks go on, things happen. People get hurt, right? So then you got to play the waiver wire. And there's an order on the waiver wire. So like you got to be on that shit, right? And you got to try to pick up the best guys that fit for your team for the PPR for the waiver wire. And then you get them on the team. And then then the work comes in like checking everybody's matchups for the week. Like, who is going to give me the most production based on their matchups and then setting that fucking perfect lineup? Like, yo, bro, I'm not even joking. Sometimes I will, so games start at 1 o'clock. I won't have my lineup completely set until 12:59 because I can't make a decision on whether I should play this guy or play this guy. And it's a crapshoot, bro. Like, you could play this guy instead of this guy, and this guy will do fucking 30 points on your bench, and this dude will fucking do 10. So it's like you make all the right picks and it fucking goes that week and it hits that week and you score fucking 190 points, 200 points, 210 points, and you just washed your opponent, bro. Yeah. Wash them. You know what I mean? Like, it all comes together.
It's a life thing too. You always have to, every day you have to pivot. One of the things I used to watch the counselors, you remember the counselor Dave?
Of course.
And he used to tease guys about how they'd complain that like they ran out of pizza. Like these guys would be just like completely like distraught. Their whole
super
day's
sarcastic motherfucker.
Yeah,
dude.
and these dudes were like fucking babies because like addicts just want everything to go right and go their way.
Sure.
And something like the food would just take them off their square, and it's kind of ridiculous when you look at that. It makes me think of anytime I was like how corny that is. But you have to pivot and make decisions last minute. Sometimes I don't know what my morning meeting is going to be until I'm in the shower that morning or until I fucking step in the building. Or whatever I think it's going to be something different. Isn't it foolish to think that everything is going to work out exactly the way you want? Aren't we supposed to be flexible?
It's foolish to think that everything is going to work out the way that you want. What's not foolish to think, and if you can accept this, then you're fucking 10 steps ahead of the game, is everything will work out exactly the way that it's supposed to work out, right? And in saying that, this is crazy because this is working out the way that I wanted it to work out because I started this new thing where every day when I get home from work, I have to sit down and read for a half hour. Right? Because I'll blow through books. Like, if I do it like that and I stay firm on that, bro, by the end of the year, I'll have read through 20, 30, 35 books. And how much extra knowledge is that?
I still quote the books I read 6 years ago,
dude, it's so good, right? So I've been reading the 4 Agreements, and I highlight parts that I want to talk about. So there was this specific part that I wanted to highlight and talk about today. Mm-hmm. And before I read that, I just got a text from my therapist 3 minutes ago. She said, it's such a gift to see that fierce self-love you have now and that vigilance about your peace. Great episode, right? The part of the book that I wanted to talk about was this. We have the need to be accepted and to be loved by others, but we cannot accept and love ourselves. The more self-love we have, the less we will experience self-abuse. Self-abuse comes from self-rejection, and self-rejection comes from having an image of what it means to be perfect and never measuring up to that ideal. Our image of perfection is the reason we reject ourselves. It is why we don't accept ourselves the way we are and why we don't accept others the way that they are. How perfect is that? That she just texted me that. You know? And like when I read that the other night, it hit so hard, bro. It hit so hard that I got up and like ran out of my room and went into the living room and I was like, yo, Asher, listen to this.
Yeah.
And I read it to him because it like made the hairs on the back of my neck stand up because it's so true, you know? And it's so true for me. Like I have really gotten away from like having to receive things from other people, like emotionally and mentally. And what it's done for me is astronomical. Like to find the love within and not thinking so badly about myself is like I don't feel like I have to measure up to this image that is artificial.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the perfect image of what I was supposed to be 5 years ago is completely different from like what the perfect image is of what I think I should be now. You know? Like now it's just contentment. It's just like not chasing something. You know what I mean? Not to say that I don't chase anything because I do. I chase perfection, but like not with the illusion that I think I'm going to be able to obtain it. I chase perfection because I strive for greatness, but I know that perfection is never going to be obtainable. It's unrealistic to think that anything could be perfect.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But if I chase it, the place that I'll arrive is bigger than where I would have been if I wasn't chasing anything.
Yeah. One of the first things you said when you came back was you talked about the steps in the ladder to get to the end goal. And that's kind of like what we're doing. Like the other day, you're like, I just keep thinking about the idea of us in the podcast, for instance, getting better.
Yeah.
And so every time you're like, oh, I know that we were short in that area, and then we improved it. Like, I feel better. It's like you're chasing perfection, but you're not actually trying to arrive at perfection, but you keep getting better on the things that your head is telling you that you want to improve on. And that's a good feeling. And when I feel self-contentment now, it's because I'm doing esteemable things. When I wasn't, my fucking self-image was terrible.
Yeah.
The question I wrote in my phone today to ask you was about how you felt. Like, we look great. Sometimes I'll look at videos of myself and be like, damn, Jonathan, you look healthy. And that's important for me because I know what it's like for me to not look healthy. You know what it's like for you to not look healthy.
Yeah.
And I was wondering what that does for you. What it does for you to feel and know, like, I look like shit. And how that makes you feel versus now when you look at yourself and say, I love the way I look.
So when I was in that place where I looked like shit, like my energy matched it. I felt like shit. You know what I mean? But the sad part about it was there was a good portion of it that I just completely accepted. And I accepted that it was going to be like that forever. And that's what's scary. Like, that's what was so scary about that whole thing. But there was still that small part of me that knew that, like, I was meant for so much more. You know what I mean? Like this is not the way that I should be looking. This is not the things that I should be doing. Like, at no point should I be eating out of trash cans, bro. You know what I mean? Like, at no point should me eating, like, it shouldn't come down to whether or not somebody else was eating and they got full and threw away half of a meal that I can find out of the trash can.
Yep.
Like, that should not be what my life is.
Yep.
And that's what it was.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And like I wasn't looking in mirrors because I didn't want to see myself. It was sad, bro. It's a sad existence. And like, you know, I knew it was sad, and I like, bro, my family doesn't like seeing me like that.
Nobody does. It's fucking scary. It's sad. I have this thing that I've been thinking about for years now, and that I know is true. When I look in the mirror, I used to say, like, if I could just kind of like have a mirror in front of me all day, and I don't have a vanity problem, but I have a what's going on between my ears problem, that I have so much madness and chaos inside, and a lot of it is like self-deprecating thoughts. And when I look in the mirror, I fucking love myself. I'm like, look at you, man. But what goes on between your head, you can't see yourself the way you do when you look in the mirror. If I could just look in the mirror all day, I could be a lot more stable and solid on my feet. And when I was using, couldn't look in the mirror. Then there was times where I was using and I'd be stuck in the bathroom, and like you're looking in the mirror, but like I wouldn't even look up. And then I'm hunched like this, like for a long time, because I just literally wouldn't look up. Like this is where all this weird, strange shit starts to happen. And now like my posture's changing.
Yep.
And now I'm like avoiding the mirror,
Starting
which
to
is
get
half the fucking
slouched
size of the wall.
a little
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
It's you become a complete prisoner inside of your own house. Like, why am I not moving in that direction or looking up? Now I realize an hour went by and I've been like this. And this is this is the madness that we go through as addicts.
And then
what is it?
You establish those agreements in your head.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like I'm a piece of shit.
Yeah. And then that agreement is then established.
And then you hear a voice that says, "You're a piece of shit." And
what makes it even worse is, like, so you believe that, right? And then what really ties it down is the people around you saying, "Yo, like, you're a fucking piece of shit." You know what I mean? Like, yo, you're fucking, you suck. You know what I mean? And then I start to believe it even more.
Yeah.
And believe it even more. And when that really gains motion and gains traction, I'm fucked.
you're buried.
And that's what this book
You want
talks
to talk about the spiral,
Yeah,
right?
that's what this book talks about. It talks about like the word is agreements that we make within ourselves.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And people like believing what other people say and taking it personally further cements that agreement in our own heads. You know? And like
holding us accountable to the stuff that we said.
we have no idea how powerful our words are. Let me speak for myself. I have no idea how powerful my words are, right? And like part of being impeccable with your word is not to gossip, right? So like I can't tell you how many times like and I'm going to apologize to you for this because like I realized it the other day where like we'll be at work and like you'll do something that I don't agree with and like I don't just keep it to myself. Like I'll talk about it, right? And I'll almost make it a point to persuade other people to think exactly how I'm feeling, and that's spreading poison. You know what I mean? Because now I just help them make an agreement that they didn't even see initially. I implanted it into their fucking head, and now they think the way that I think. Yeah. And that's what I wanted. Because I didn't want to feel alone in being bothered by something that you did. And like prior to even reading the book, my therapist helped me realize this like while I was in treatment. Like she used to tell me like be careful what you say. You know what I mean? Like if you have stuff going on, like come in here and talk to me about it, you know? But when you go into a group setting and you talk about it, your words are so powerful and people listen to every single word that you say that you will persuade them into thinking like you think, and then it causes a riot.
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
How much of an impact did me being in the seat that I sit in here at the company and you working here with me and all these guys and you taking my guidance and advice and everything sales when I decided that a man can drink if he wants to drink because he just has to exercise self-control, not really realizing what I was getting my own self into? How much of an impact did that have on you? Be careful what you say because you have a big seat and a big voice and people listen to you. And so you got to be careful what you put out there. Don't insinuate something that you might not mean. Be careful what you might have insinuated if you didn't mean to. Be careful what you suggest. It might not work for others if it works for you. You got to be very delicate. And I think there was a point in time when I wasn't, and I think it affected the people around me.
Did it affect me? Like, did it persuade my decision?
Yeah,
No.
Did it help persuade?
No. And I'll tell you
Did it give you
why.
an excuse to be able to start drinking again?
No. So if you remember when it first came out that you started drinking again, I was just as furious as your brother was. And like I was snapping. And like I was ready to quit because I knew how dangerous that could potentially be to me, right? But what I failed to realize until recently was you starting to drink had nothing to do with me starting to drink. Me starting to drink came from decisions that I made years prior, like where I started to give up on the agreements that I made with myself. And that's why I'm so strict on the agreements that I make with myself nowadays, where like I was supposed to be steroid free. I was supposed to be like toxic relationship free. And I slowly started to allow those things into my world where I started doing steroids. And then I made myself a little bit more lenient and I allowed a toxic relationship. Then I allowed 2 toxic relationships. So, like, you add steroids, 2 toxic relationships to somebody who's already being lenient on agreements that they made with themselves, and now drinking becomes okay. So, it had nothing to do with the fact that you were drinking. Now, did it make me a little bit more comfortable while I was drinking because I knew that, like, I'm not going to get fired? Like, you can't fire me for it. Jonathan does it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it might have helped that, but as far as me making the initial decision, what you were doing had nothing to do with it. Like, that was on me. And, like, I have to be able to take responsibility for those things. Because if I take those things and I blame them on you, then I'm not taking responsibility for it and I can't move forward.
Right.
Because I'm in denial and I'm justifying.
I think that's the right position to take on
You
it.
know? But, like, I have these agreements and I have to stay firm on these agreements. That's why, so, like, yesterday, bro, so I'm watching, I just started Boardwalk Empire. It's a really good show.
Scorsese, man.
Yeah, exactly. And I really, really like it, dude. And all day yesterday, I could not stop thinking about, like, I cannot wait until I get home so I could just fucking lay down and watch Boardwalk Empire. And I got home and I sat down in my bed and I turned the TV on and I was about to fucking, I was about to lamp and watch Boardwalk Empire and I was like, fuck. I gotta read for a half hour. And for a second, I was like, nah, dude, I'll just do it later. And then I was like, no. You made an agreement with yourself that you're gonna do this as soon as you get home from work, right? And I make it bigger than maybe what it actually is, but, like, I can't slip on that.
Why?
Because if I slip on that, then it opens up room for me to slip on other things. And if I start to slip on other things, I'll start to slip on things that will potentially kill me.
Yeah.
So I treat it as if, like, I treat not reading for a half hour as intensely as I treat having a drink.
Yep.
And if I could stay doing that, like, I will accomplish everything in this world that I want to accomplish. Mm-hmm. And, like, that will lead to me being the absolute best version of myself that I could ever be.
That's the best path I've ever been on in my entire
Yeah.
life. That's awesome, dude.
Yeah.
Keeping your word to yourself. Those are the things that I've been doing for as long as I possibly can. Here's the thing: when I don't keep my word to myself, how am I supposed to feel good about myself? How can I stand up, look someone in the eye, and shake their hand, and look them in the eye? But when I do keep my word to myself, whatever the things are that I decided matter the most, and I got a good compass, and I'm of good morals, man, and so I care about things that matter: treating people well, and giving more than I get, and so on. And when I do those things and keep my word to myself, it keeps me alive, and also I feel more confident every day, and nobody can tell me, like, you're not doing what you're supposed to do or judge me. The stuff that affects you is only the stuff that really is for you.
Yeah.
If someone's like, yo, you don't do enough in the day, stop it. Mm-hmm. Stop it. I can compare myself to other CEOs and be like, damn, they've figured out how to be way more efficient with their time, like little tweaks, no doubt. But as far as how I feel about myself, that's the big thing. Being impeccable with my word has not only allowed me to get my confidence back and feel good in my own zone, but it saved my life, because when I started using, I would talk out loud to myself about, like, but don't ever count me out, because I'm always going to come back. I'm not going to let myself get buried to this. And I would remember my own fucking words, like it's plaguing me, my own words from years ago, the things that I said, that I have a voice in my head telling me you're not keeping your word to that. And it eats me alive for too long.
Yeah.
And it eats at me and eats at me and eats at me. And I found enough strength to get myself back on the right track, because I have to be and want to be impeccable with my word. And it's the best thing I've ever done for myself.
See, I never used to have that.
It's a higher power, I feel like.
I never used to have that. Where, like I have to keep my word, not only to other people, but to myself. Like, keeping my word to myself is more important than anything. Because, like, keeping my word to other people would just kind of be a byproduct. because I take keeping my word so important. But like, bro, I've never had that self-discipline before, you know, like never. And I was so lenient on like
Nobody does. Like,
just doing whatever I want to do.
it's the 1%. That's the game for the 1%. E. The guys that are at home, like, oh shit, I have something I have to do. Let me get up and go do it because I made that deal with myself. You do esteemable things and you hold yourself accountable. And then you're going to hold yourself accountable as a byproduct to the people that you give your word to, and you show up for that. That's your guide. Your own higher best 2.0 self is your fucking higher power because it's guiding your every action. And when you hold yourself to that standard, you fucking arrive somewhere. Versus people who have been shitting on themselves for so freaking long that they don't know how to keep their word to themselves. They lose a piece of themselves every single time that they say they're going to do something and they don't. They lose a piece of themselves, and everybody gets caught in the wake of that because they can't do the first right thing for themselves. How are they going to do for others? You got to stay far away from those guys and fucking pray for those guys and hope they have like this kind of awakening. I'm not supposed to eat shitty food. It makes me feel like shit. I know I don't like it. I know it's me being a child and going after impulse, something that's going to satisfy me in the moment. Yeah. That's for me, man. I'm not supposed to do it. And so when I do, we used to laugh, like, Jonathan, have a cheeseburger, buddy. You know the big joke, like, come on, man. But like, I'm just not supposed to. And like, that's for me. And when I go to bed at night and I didn't do that, or I don't eat too late at night, I swear to God, man, I get the fucking hit from that. I wake up the next day, like, I just stacked up positives today, man. And not eating like shit was one of them.
Yeah. I've been like setting specific detailed goals with specific timelines on them, because what that also allows me to do is it allows me to not get consumed by procrastination. You know what I mean? Where it's like, if I said that I was going to do something and I was going to do it at this time, or this is the deadline, then like that has to be done. Because I was a big procrastinator where I say I'm going to do something and like, yeah, I'll get around to it. Yeah, I'll get to it. Yeah, I'll get to it. No, motherfucker, just do it.
I mean, what happens if you do procrastinate? Does it get bigger or smaller?
I just don't do it.
Yeah. And then what? Does it plague you?
Now or then?
Anytime you procrastinated on something.
No, it used to not bother me.
Wow, you could just be like,
yeah,
said I was going to do it, didn't do it.
That's what was so sad, bro.
Yeah, that is sad.
You know what I mean? Like, that was so sad. Because my word to myself didn't mean anything, bro. And like, that's a big difference in me nowadays, dude. Where it's like, I don't procrastinate, because if I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. Whether I say it to you or I say it to myself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't matter that I put it out into the world. I put it out into myself.
Yeah.
So it's like, yo, do it. Like, do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not that bad. You know what I mean? And even things that I don't want to do, like, I don't necessarily want to sit down for a half hour and read, but I know that it will benefit me.
Yeah.
I know it can't hurt me. You know?
If anything, if nothing else, let's say, and you're probably 95% of the time going to get something out of the content. Yeah. I mean, you chose the book. It's a book that's for you for a reason. But if nothing else, you just built that muscle that says, I can do things that are hard. There's this muscle inside people. I saw this from one of the psychologists. I saw this when I was in outpatient. That is the strongest in people that do things every day that they don't want to do. Mm-hmm. And it's the weakest or smallest in people that a lot of times are overweight. This is a Huberman thing, doctor. And the people that don't flex that discipline and build that muscle. And so if nothing else, you get that out of it.
It's like the what's the worst that could possibly happen loop. You know what I mean? Like, what's the worst that could possibly happen from me reading for a half hour a day? You know? I get nothing out of it. I don't learn anything.
But you kept your word to yourself.
But I kept my word to myself, and I proved to myself that I could do it for an extended period of time.
But then on the upside...
what's the best part? Yeah. What's the best thing that could happen? I learn something. I get more knowledge. I become stronger. I become faster. I become better. I become a better reader. I become a better absorber of knowledge. You know what I mean? Yeah. I have more things that I could talk about on my podcast because I just gained more material.
Yep.
That's fucking 8 things right there that, like, I just rung off. And there's plenty more that I get out of it. You know what I mean? But the worst thing that could possibly happen is that I don't get anything out of it, and I proved to myself that I could do something, and I kept my word to myself.
Yep.
So if the positives completely outweigh the negatives, then I should go for that.
When I started using, like, the word that I made to myself was like, I'm gonna crawl up out of this and I'm gonna have to get back and it's gonna be fucking ugly and it's gonna suck. It's not gonna be like a fucking movie that would, want to be put on screen. It's not pretty. Because I'm gonna have to, I knew it. I'm gonna have to, like, get my mind back, my ability to get that muscle back that can actually sit through something. Relearn all my own skills. Like, you had to relearn how to fucking walk. Like, I'm gonna have to do that in my own way. But I'll crawl back and I'll be embarrassed. I always feel like in my head, camera on, camera off. Like, there's a camera on me at all times. I have that kind of like philosophy. It's like a belief I keep. It's like, imagine there's a camera on you at all times. What would you do? To be the same person in the dark as you are in the light. Because the incongruency is what fucking buries me. So it makes me show up, can't look somebody in the eye, not true to my word, which comes out of you in all these wacky ways. Being congruent is fucking everything. And, camera on, camera off, to do the things that I'm supposed to do every single day.
That first agreement is important. The second one, like, you need the second one in order to accomplish the first one, though.
What's the second one? Don't take anything personal?
Don't take anything personal. You know? Like,
nothing others say or do is because of you.
it's because of you. It's because of them. It's because of their own pain. It's because of their own insecurities or whatever the case may be. Or it's because there's people out there that just, in the book he calls it black magic. Like, they're black magicians. And, like, that's what they set out to do, is just to bring people down, right? So if I could stop taking what people say personally, then I won't make the agreement that that's true in my own mind. And then I can essentially be impeccable with my word.
Yeah.
You know?
This stuff's not, when somebody's so far off base, if they insult you or something, like, and you could just tell that they're, like, out the window, it doesn't even faze you. Mm-hmm. Or if you're just, like, solid in your own right, you're like, that's not for me, man. Stuff that's really not for you is so easy to just let it fly.
There was one recently that, like, I was hearing from a lot of people that, like, that agreement got made in my head, unfortunately. Was there truth to it? Yeah, absolutely. Or else 17 people wouldn't have said it. It was like, yo, you're getting a belly, bro. Like, you're getting kind of fat. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And, like, I hear from one person, and it's like, yeah, whatever, dude. Like, that's because I was just on drugs. Like, I just put weight on. But I hear from 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 people, and then it's like, all right, dude, this has to be true. And then I look in the mirror, and now I start to look fat. You know, and it's like that agreement just got made in my head, and now I'm under like I truly believe everything that they said. So it's like very hard to like take that to the extreme and not take anything personal, because some things, like, unfortunately, like, there's truth to it, you know. But if I could just stick with that and not take anything personal, then, like, what people say won't affect me and it won't bother me.
Because, like, I think what we have a tendency to do is, like, if someone says, oh, you have a belly, or they say something about, it doesn't take away from the 95% of us that they're not talking about in the moment. Yeah. But we tend to think, like, we'll get red in the face and feel embarrassed. For me, I will. Because I'll be insecure about how I look. Like, I don't like to look like, let's say, overweight, or to feel like I'm not the way I want to feel or look.
Because it doesn't measure up to the perfect image that you have in your head.
And, like, meanwhile, to the other person telling you, they're seeing it objectively. It's just one small part of you, man. Yeah. They're not meaning to hurt you. Or they are, and then, like, shame on that person, because you're pretty ugly for that, you know?
But, like, that was part of the perfect image that I have for myself in my head. Is like, yo, I don't want that. You know what I mean? And, like, is that bad? No, not necessarily. Like, to want to be healthy, you know? So, like, I took it, and, you know, I'm trying to do something about it, because, like, at no point did it get, like, out of control where I'm, like, 300 pounds, but it's like, I've never had a belly in my life, dude, you know? So, like, I start to put on, you know, an extra 10, 15 pounds that I don't need. It's like, I don't want that. You know what I mean? I don't want that. It doesn't live up to the image that I have of myself in my head. Like, that's just not what I want.
What feels worse? I don't think you feel too bad about if you have a belly. You're just like, it's something I don't really prefer. I'm just gonna go and change it.
Yeah.
You know. So what feels worse, that or like what it feels like when people see the pictures of us like during our using and shit? I used to be mortified about how I would look and be glad that I wouldn't run into people that I knew, or
So-
stay in the damn dark, man. So I don't run into anyone I know.
I think for me, so you and I are a little different in that aspect where like those pictures and stuff, like it doesn't bother me. I actually like them because it shows, like, it reminds me of how bad it could really get for me, and then it also shows me like how much I've actually grown and how much work I've put in to get to where I'm
I
at.
saw your a clip the other day, and I was like, I think I texted you.
Yeah.
Like, so good to be able to look at that now in the seat you're sitting in, and it's important for me to be able to go through this stuff and it not be in vain. So later on, but in the moment, it's complete misery to me. My mom gave me a picture once of my dog. I love my dog, and it was for my birthday, and the only picture she can find, and the only thing that gave me any happiness at all during this drug run was like being with Junior. So he'd be like, paws out the window, and like I look like complete shit. Or like Jess would take pictures of me walking down the block. You know, that the beautiful picture of like at their back, my daughter, my dog. And I look like I'm dying. You can see from the back the way my arms look, the skin. And I always fucking hated it. And it's important to me to be able so that it's not in vain. So now looking back, I'm like, wow, I really have come far. It actually makes me realize how deep the pits get. I don't think people would meet us now and be able to understand exactly how deep and how dark it gets. But like, I remember. I don't even realize how far I've come since the run sometimes.
I like to show people that because it's hope. You know, it gives people inspiration. It gives people hope because we have no idea how many people are out there that are just like hopeless. You know what I mean? Like just they
They don't even know.
They have no idea
They
that
probably
there's
they
another
can't
way.
see this version of
Yeah,
themselves.
No, they can't.
Like,
That's
what's your
sad.
advice for that guy?
Ask for help. Ask for help. Because you have no idea what's possible. You know what I mean? And I can't stress that enough. Because I had no idea what was possible. I had no idea that like I was gonna be able to go from where I was at this last time to where I'm at now. If you would have told me 6 months ago that I would be here, I would tell you you're out of your mind, that I'm not gonna make it back, that I'm mentally gone, and that this is just gonna be what my life is forever.
Yeah.
But that's not true. You know what I mean? But I had to ask for help. I didn't do any of this by myself. I did very minimum of it by myself. Granted, I put in the effort, I put in the work to get better, but like I needed so many people along the way. You know, like I needed Shane to come get me out. I needed my mom to take my cat or else I wasn't going to go. I needed the techs in Malvern to sit down and talk to me the fucking million times that I would grab them and talk about what I was going through. I needed my therapist in Malvern to fucking emotionally dump on. You know what I mean? And then I needed my sister to get me this scholarship into this PHP and IOP program. And then I needed to get there and do the same things I did in Malvern there, but just at a higher level. And I needed people to help me understand who I am. I needed people to show me what I was meant to do and that I wasn't meant to be doing that. I needed all these people. I needed you to give me a job back so that I could get fulfillment out of my work and be able to eventually sit down and do what we're doing now. I needed my friends to show me that they loved me because I felt alone. I needed my family to show me that they didn't give up on me because I felt like everybody gave up on me. I needed all of those things in order to arrive at where I'm at now. So like I don't take the credit for all of it. I really try not to take the credit for any of it. And people tell me like, no, you need to take credit because you put in the effort. You put in the time, you put in the work to get here. Yes, we helped you, but like our help wouldn't have done anything if you weren't willing to do the work.
Yeah, and also you're repaying those people because you burnt a lot of bridges.
Yeah.
And then the only thing you can do to mend those fences is what you're doing now.
Yeah.
Is put in the work. That's what anybody that loves you would ask of you in return.
Yeah. Yeah, this was good. I feel like we covered a lot of deep shit. You know? Shout out the 4 agreements.
4 agreements is
You know what I'm saying?
is solid. There's this thing that I always say, which is like everything is on your shoulders. Meaning, like if you feel like shit today, You could blame it on the guy that said something to you or came at you this way or that way, but then like you're maybe taking something personally. If everything's on you and you'll shoulder the load, that means it's up to you to sort and process, to get the right perspective, the one that allows you to carry forward, to not fuck your own shit up, right? And so like everything is on you. Can't blame it on the fucking French toast that ran out or the pivot that happened in your fucking day or even how you feel.
Everything's on me. You know? And if I don't allow that shit to consume me, if I don't allow that shit to hold weight in my head or rent space in my head, I'll be fine. I'll be absolutely fine. And I know that. Yeah. Yeah, that's where I'm at.
What are the 4? Be impeccable with your word. Don't take anything personally.
Never make assumptions. And
Always do your best.
always do your best. Yep. There's a 5th agreement too.
What is
I
that?
forget what it is. I have the book though. So I just got his 3-pack. It's the 4 agreements, the 5th agreement, and the Mastery of Love. Because my therapist recommended reading the Mastery of Love because she watches all my podcasts, but she watched our episode from a couple weeks ago where we were talking about relationships, you know, and wanting to have that healthy relationship. And she was like, if you want to learn about healthy relationships and how to have them, I recommend you read the Mastery of Love.
That's dope.
Yeah.
I'm gonna read that.
Yeah, she's awesome.
What, your therapist?
Yeah, she's great. So I talk about the one a lot, Madison, but Heather is a fucking wizard. She's a wizard. You would love her.
Yeah?
Very knowledgeable, dude.
Does she have a white beard?
No, she doesn't.
She's like a 2.0 wizard?
But
Like the
yeah,
new,
exactly.
new age wizard?
Exactly.
That's cool.
Exactly. I should get her one of them hats, one of them wizard hats.
Yeah.
Because she is, dude. She's great. Very smart, very intelligent.
One of the most famous books that fucking exists in this world, bro, is called Atomic Habits, and it's people that say
I have
before
it on my nightstand.
Okay, before it's what you're doing.
Yeah.
Before I sit down and catch wreck, I got to read for 30 minutes because I said I would. Atomic Habits will talk about stuff like every time you go to sleep at night, put your floss next to your toothbrush. So now you always associate brushing your teeth with flossing. There was this guy, I think Ed Milet, guy I watch. I like his content, and he talked about how his doctor told him he was unhealthy, and his doctor said, you know, you're not going to be able to walk your daughter down the aisle. I want you to kind of associate that with that. So 4:30 in the morning comes around, and it's what gets him out of bed. I'm not going to be able to walk my own fucking daughter down the aisle. The doctor was like, do you want some other man walking your daughter down the aisle? And he kind of connected those 2 things. And these little habits about, like, I can't catch wreck until I do something that's good for my internal state. That was the best road I ever went down, to the extent that I went down it. I still practice that to this day to the best of my ability. So for you to say that, like, I just know from experience that that works. It sounds like it works. I've done it myself. I know that it works. The fucking book says that it fucking works. I think you're on the fucking right path, man. It's like looking at it from every angle, bro.
There's a lot of guys in AA that they will tell their sponsees so that they start the routine of prayer to put their shoes underneath their bed, like far underneath their bed. That way they got to get down on their knees to go get them.
Yep.
And then boom, there's your prayer.
Yep.
You don't forget.
I started with Atomic Habits when I was away, and I had to start crawling myself back to life with exercise. What's an esteemable thing you can do when you don't know what to do first? A little bit of exercise. Let's start working on our mind and our body. So I made a deal with myself to do this and that, and I was aiming for, and I decided after my jail and then the rehab that I was aiming to be able to do 1,000 push-ups in an hour. And I trained myself for 3-4 months. To do that, and I'm like thinking in my head about like how many I need to do per set, how many sets in the hour, and then like my last 1 or 2 days at Malvern, Willow Grove. I set the timer, and I fucking went for it. And I fucking did it. But I was practicing all the while. It was like a higher power. It was a guide, something I wanted to accomplish that I set after that guided me while everyone else was doing God knows what. You know? Just beelining for the goal that I set in my head. These are the little things, man, that keep me going. And the deals I made with myself, that I'm going to go after what my biggest dreams are. And I understand the ladder. That's why I love when you said that. What are the steps I have to take? I'll set goals that are 5 and 10 years out. And I wake up and go for them every day. And then look what happens. We've been together now for 6-7 years. Look what materializes around us. I need to remind myself of that every day. But I had to build that muscle back up to find the patience to like, yo, stay the course, bro. It's not a hit that you need that's going to get you high right now and keep you high for a minute. Hold out for something better. And so now I'm back with the muscle, going for the 5-year goal, the bigger goal, the big hit, you know, the real payoff, man, which is, and what it ends up being is the process anyway. But we're coloring up a nice life, man.
Yeah.
I love you, bro.
Love you too.
Life on EJ.